as far as like who are the people that are left here in the city. I walk around, this is after the pandemic, and I notice there's so many hijabs everywhere. It's crazy. I don't know where they came from. All of a sudden, I'm walking around, I'm seeing this kid in a stroller being transported by a woman with like the full ninja regalia on. Like she's living in the Middle Ages, just walking around New York City next to these fancy cafes. Like, what is this? What's going on?
It's disgusting. You know, our city is becoming like London. And we have a proof of concept. Like, really? You want New York to become London? I mean, we can see what happens when a European city becomes a Muslim city, you know? So New York is going the way of London. And Mamdani is a typical, you know, Londonistan style mayor that, you know, we're going to wind up
even though he says that he's liberal, progressive, that he likes trans people, that he likes all of this stuff.
My ass, it's Tahrir. It's Tahrir. Muslims have done this to come to power in various places, including in Iran, when the mullahs and their, you know, guerrilla leftist Islamist, you know, revolutionary associates first challenged the regime of the Shah and promised people freedom and, you know, liberation and so on and so forth. They also engaged in all this tahrir of, you know, endorsing and you know, embracing supposedly progressive ideas. And then lo and behold, they come to power and they impose medieval Islamic Sharia on everybody. I mean, this is what they do. So, yeah, it's really disturbing to see it happening in my hometown. I've seen New York rebuilt. I've seen a new Gotham standing on the Palisade Cliffs and the Hudson Highlands. It would be a good idea for all the best people in New York, all the real New Yorkers who are left, to consider temporary relocation so that they can come back and build the city back better than ever on higher ground.
But one other thing that I wanted to quickly show you here, this was the recent photo of Mamdani eating the traditional Middle Eastern food with his right hand, you know, not using a fork and knife, getting the... So what does this represent to you? Because to me, this seems almost like a humiliation ritual in a way. You know, he's dressed in a suit and tie and he's eating in this particular way, almost to show the New Yorkers that, you know, we are going to impose our ways on you and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't know, that's at least my reading of this, but I don't know what you think.
Who eats like that? Man, we're not in India or Africa. For fuck's sake. Like, even poor people in Iran, if they are not, like really poor people in Iran, if they're not eating with utensils, they use bread to, you know, put their food into, right? Like, who eats with their hands like that? Only, you know, like massively impoverished people in India and Africa. We don't need that at all in our society, let alone from a person in a leadership position. It's disgusting.
And he was not massively impoverished at all. He was a rich bitch who lived in a luxurious environment with servants or slaves or whatever you want to say there, you know? So
yeah. And so he's like, in a way, an actor who these Islamists have sort of hired for the role, you know? The vast majority of people who don't have conscientious self-determination, at least in some domains of their life, cannot be allowed to use these singularity level technologies. It's one of many reasons. You also can't trust such people with zero-point energy devices in their homes. Okay? So Nietzsche was very right about this, that we are going to experience a bifurcation of humanity through an evolutionary bottleneck, where on the one hand, the majority of people become these subhuman Untermenschen that have no capacity for self-determination, and they are enmeshed in a kind of cybernetic system of economic industrial production. And on the other hand, you're going to have these highly individuated, highly motivated Übermenschen who can use these technologies because they will not be corrosive of that person's will, and in fact, they're going to serve that person's imaginative capacity. So that's a very harsh answer, but I think that's the answer, is that, you know, there's going to have to be a selection for the personality traits that are going to be able to support a constructive use of any number of these potentially dangerous singularity level technologies, including genetic engineering. Like, for example, over my dead body are a majority of Muslims going to be allowed to use genetic engineering. Over my dead body. You can kill me first, and you'll have to. Because there's no way in hell that I'm gonna stand by and watch Muslim masses increase their IQ to 200 using CRISPR. Because guess what, folks? That doesn't create intelligence. It makes you smarter in terms of mathematical and spatial reasoning, but as we know from what happened in Iran itself during the Iranian Renaissance, where we had a resurgence of scientific research and technical development from 900 to 1100, toward the end of that period when the Turks came in, and then the Mongols after them, right, and reimposed Islam severely on Iran, we saw some of the smartest people convert to Islam. And then they became the brains of continued Islamic expansionism, okay? So there's no way in hell I'm gonna let that happen again. So therefore, we have about 10 years to prevent the majority of Muslims in the world from accessing genetic engineering technologies. You can draw conclusions yourself about what's gonna be needed to make sure that it doesn't wind up in their hands. But, so this is to answer your question, and I don't draw any distinction between that and say, like, see, the evangelicals think that this kind of technology is satanic. They think that the singularity level technologies represent the advent of the Antichrist, so they're not likely to use the CRISPR to increase their IQ to like 200. But, the Mormons are somewhat different. The Mormons in Utah, they have a more sophisticated, nuanced attitude toward technology, and I don't want any Mormons with 200 IQs. No, thank you. Thank you. And the measures that will be required to deny those technologies to those populations, while at the same time securing the use of them by the kind of people who would use them best, are very extreme measures. And they're going to need to be taken in very short order.
Yeah. Well, you say that, Jason, about the Muslims and this genetic opportunity, but wait until you see the most beautiful, perfect goat that they're going to create with this technology. So, just saying. Anyway.
I don't see it, Lev. I don't need to see it. It would really be horrible for the goat. I mean, this would be a great offense against the goat.
It will be a goat that's going to win multiple beauty contests in Saudi Arabia. They actually have that, by the way. They have beauty contests for goats in some of these places. And they're like weird-looking goats, too. I don't know what's going on with these goats. But anyway.
The goats, I really do.
Yeah, me too. Goats are great. We got to separate the sheep from the goats. Anyway,